Tron is trash. Yes, really. I know this is a clickbait title, and I know this video is going to be opinionated, but trust me, I don't do this kind of thing for the likes. You've probably found this video because you searched for Tron, you're wondering, is it a good investment? Does it make sense to hold on to the TRX token? And I think especially if you're bullish on Tron, you might want to watch this video. We will look at the data, we will look at the ecosystem, we will look at relative performance, we will make a comparative analysis, and in the end, with all of that data, you can hopefully come to a more objective view about Tron. Now let's first make a snapshot of where we are currently at. Tron is currently at 6 cents, going slightly down in the last 24 hours. It is the 23rd largest cryptocurrency in terms of market cap, so we're looking at 6 billion roughly. And in the last few months, Tron has pretty much traded sideways with quite a bit of volatility, right? Going from 6 cents to maybe 16 cents, then down again to 6. Currently, we are at a relatively low level, comparatively speaking, if we simply take this here as the sidewards trading range. So does it make sense to buy Tron now? Does it make sense to hold on to this? Why is this potentially not a good idea, right? Buy low, sell high. That's the whole idea of crypto. Now here's why. It's the competition. When Tron first launched, it was one of the very few smart contract platforms. It was directly competing with Ethereum. Nowadays, we've got way more layer 1 solutions. Tron is currently at number 7 in terms of total value locked, looking at 4.1 billion. But there's now also Solana, Phantom, Avalanche, the Binance Smart Chain, and of course Terra Luna that is beating Tron. The long-term momentum though is that Ethereum tends to lose versus the competitors, right? I expect this actually to continue. I expect Ethereum, that's got currently around 58% market share in terms of total value locked. I expect this market share here to decline for Ethereum and for competitors to take that money, to take that capital. But why not Tron? Because Tron has been around for a long time and the result we can see from this is not that impressive, right? We've only got 9 decentralized apps on Tron. Compare this to the Binance Smart Chain with 320, to Avalanche with 174, to Phantom with 179. Even Solana, that's not EVM compatible, has way more decentralized apps. Tron at this moment in time is way behind, but it did have way more time to develop, right? It's simply slower. And so those are now the decentralized apps over here. We've got a borrowing and lending platform, Just Lend. We've got a stablecoin DEX, Just Stables. We've got a regular DEX, Sun Swap. We see all of this is very closely tied to the founder of the Tron blockchain itself. Look at this. There's not a lot of decentralized applications that run on other blockchains, right? There's Unify and OneSwap, but that's about it. The rest is all Tron only. This here is the total value locked. It is going up, right? We've got these short rallies and retracements, another rally, another retracement. That's better than just staying flat at a very low level, but it's still underperforming compared to Avalanche or Phantom or the Binance Smart Chain. And we can also see this in the relative price performance. And this, I think, is one of the most important considerations here. How is TRX performing relative to Solana, relative to BNB, relative to Phantom or AVAX? And so instead of looking at the US dollar chart, which I think does not help us too much because it is quite heavily influenced by the general crypto market, right? This bottom over here on the 19th of July, we can also see it in Bitcoin. We can also see it in Ethereum. There is a lot of correlation between crypto happening. When Bitcoin is going up, Ethereum is going up, Tron is also likely going to go up. But you want to make your best choice, right? You want to make your best risk versus reward investment. And for that, we have to look at relative performance. And here are the charts that have a lot of weight. So first of all, this is Tron versus Bitcoin. A very long-term chart. And I think you're not really surprised by this, right? Tron was underperforming Bitcoin. We are now looking at a 78% underperformance roughly. This underperformance has stabilized somewhat. But Bitcoin is probably not the best benchmark here, right? Because you're taking on more risk. You're investing into a smart contract platform, into a competitor of Ethereum. So let's look at Tron versus Ethereum. That's this chart over here. And one might argue that you're taking on less risk with Ethereum, right? The market cap of Ethereum is way, way higher. The ecosystem is way larger. And so something with less risk should in general underperform something with more risk, right? More risk should mean more reward. But Tron did not outperform Ethereum. Tron underperformed Ethereum very, very constantly, actually. if we take somewhere maybe a middle point over here, right? Let's not be super bullish. Let's not be super bearish. Let's take a middle point over here and look at the underperformance. That's an 84% underperformance of Tron versus Ethereum. And this now becomes even more pronounced when we look at Solana, Phantom, Avalanche. There is a way though to make money from this, because this kind of a chart pattern we will now see repeatedly. There is a way to gain from all of this. This is Tron versus AVAX. This is Tron versus Phantom, a very clear underperformance. This is Tron versus BNB, also pretty bad. And so what I'm saying here is your dollars, they are competing for the best investment, right? And so why would you bet on an underperformer that has been that constantly worse to all these other similar investments? Why would you get into this? Currently, the overall momentum isn't too bullish, right? And so maybe it makes sense, instead of betting on rising prices, maybe it makes sense to bet on falling prices. And maybe let's take assets that really have a hard time on gaining momentum, such as Tron. Next in this video, we are going to discuss how to benefit from Tron declining. If you so far found this content useful, consider subscribing. By the way, I publish videos regularly. Now, one might consider to take on a loan denominated in Tron. So what you can do with DeFi is you can deposit collateral on one side, then take on a loan on the other side. So say you deposit a stable coin, $1,000, then you can take on a loan denominated in Tron of worth maybe $750. Then you've got that Tron, you can sell the Tron for a stable coin or for another layer 1 competitor that you're bullish on. Then you're watching Tron depreciate, right? That's the investment thesis. And then in the future, you can swap the appreciating token back into Tron and pay back that loan easier, right? The money that you've got left that you didn't have to convert back to cover the loan because Tron depreciated, that money is then pure profit. So this is how you could set this up. I personally haven't set this up, but this is how you could. You can go to, for example, Just Lend. So this is now a decentralized application on Tron. Maybe we can borrow in Tron on other platforms as well. I haven't found it. But if you go over here to Just Lend, you will see that you can borrow the Tron token for 2.1% per annum. Now that's very enticing, right? You only pay 2.1%. And if Tron continues to decline, you're making money. Now, the problem is the general crypto market, right? Even Tron can go up in terms of US dollars. It can go up quite massively, right? This is a 140% increase. If all of crypto is going up, Tron is going to go up as well. But here's the trick. You want to go long on a cryptocurrency that's correlated with the returns of Tron and thus reduce the volatility, but still gain from the depreciation of Tron. So what you could do, for example, is you could sell your Tron to Phantom. So you could bet on this chart further declining. Phantom is another layer 1 competitor, right? That's growing recently. It has a very vibrant ecosystem with a lot of decentralized applications. It's competing for the capital of Ethereum. And so if you're bullish on Phantom versus Tron, that's how you can do it. You can go to Unify, for example, or any other Tron bridge. You can bridge your money over to Tron. You can deposit a stable coin, for example, USDC. You will get 4.3% return on supplying USDC here. And then you will borrow Tron against that. In the end, when you have that position open, you will even earn money on this, right? Because your supply of USDC is generating more yield than the cost for borrowing TRX. So then you've got TRX tokens that you've got borrowed. You will then swap this back to stablecoins, for example. Then you take those stablecoins and you bridge them over to the Phantom network. On the Phantom network, you go to, for example, SpookySwap. You buy FTM tokens from that. And so on the Phantom blockchain, you've now got appreciating Phantom tokens. On the Tron blockchain, you've got depreciating TRX tokens. And so once you're happy with your gains, right? Once you see, for example, a major crash here in Tron happening relative to FTM, then you do the exact reverse again. So you will sell your FTM for USDC, you bridge over USDC to Tron, you will buy TRX tokens from that USDC, and you will pay off the loan that you've set up over here. That's how you could gain from all of this negative momentum around Tron. So that's what I like about crypto, right? You don't have to necessarily find the winner. You don't necessarily need to have appreciating prices. You simply need to have a strong opinion on something. And I've got a relatively strong opinion on TRX continuing to underperform Phantom, for example. But you might have another opinion, right? As long as you think you've got a grasp of where relative performance might go, where something might out or underperform something else, then very often you can borrow the underperforming asset and buy the outperforming asset and simply make money on that delta. There's one more thing, but I'd like to pick your brain on this. As a YouTuber, I get contacted quite often for sponsorships, and I always reject those because the target and the USP of this channel is to be completely objective, and taking money might jeopardize that objectiveness. Now, what I found is I very often get messages from people that want me to cover their Tron-related projects. And very often those don't look very well made. So we've got this thing here, for example. That's all there is. It seems to only cater to mobile phones. We've got this website here that loads a UI and then automatically jumps over to a login. Also looks pretty scammy to me. I'm not going to trash this directly, right? I haven't done further research on this, but I find this very interesting. I get a lot of these marketing messages in Telegram for projects that run on the Tron blockchain. Now let me know if you have an idea why this is. I'm getting these messages several times a day. I might be on some kind of list now, but if you work with the assumption that this is not legitimate, which I think is a relatively reasonable assumption, then why is this all happening on the Tron blockchain? I couldn't yet find a proper reason for that. Please comment this down below in case you know. Here's another thing I think we should talk about. It does make sense to fine-tune these strategies, because even if this here goes down over the long term, right? Tron depreciating versus Phantom, for example, we still have some volatility here, right? And this can be, in this case, 350%. So we might want to time this to a certain degree. One way to do this is with technical indicators. So what we can do is we can use a platform such as tradingview.com, where this chart is plotted, and we can add the indicators, and we can add, for example, the relative strength index. And when we look at this historically, right, this is now the daily RSI. When we set an upper bound over here, let's say at this level, we can see we've got sometimes a high value over here. And this is also where historically the relative valuation was comparatively high. So then there wasn't that much outperformance anymore. There wasn't that much risk here. And so one way to time this is to simply set yourself a certain value. Let's say this is now 70 or something, and then enter that strategy whenever we are really high here. So we would actually go short on Tron over here and long in Phantom. Can also make this a bit larger, right? So this is where we would be selling Tron. This is where we would be selling Tron. Currently, the value doesn't look particularly high for Tron, right? It was very high 2 days ago on the 14th of February, but that's how we can time this. So what I personally like to do is I like to set myself alerts, email alerts whenever these kind of constellations happen. I'm personally, for example, short in Chainlink versus Bitcoin. So I took on a loan in Chainlink. I sold that Chainlink. I bought Bitcoin with that. I think over the long term, Chainlink is likely going to underperform Bitcoin. That's a story for another video. But that's how you want to time this. You want to look at when to actually enter this. Now, that's just one idea. There's quite a few more approaches to this. I've even got a dedicated course on this, the Technical Analysis Academy, with currently 25 videos. That's for the premium members. Feel free to check that out. The link is in the video description. It's also over here, thebitcoinstrategy.com. If you're wondering why I mentioned Phantom so often in this video, there's a dedicated video on that. Feel free to check that out. Thanks for watching and subscribing. See you next time. Bye-bye.